What's up? What's up? What's up? You guys come on in. Hello, hello, hello. Happy Tuesday. I am once again taking over El Teddy's time slot because he is still on travel. So you guys are going to get a double header today. Come on in, come on in, come on in. Hey everybody, hey everybody, hey everybody. Please hit that like button. I have no idea what is going on between me and YouTube. For my members, you guys, I posted it on my members only community while you saw what's going on. But we're gonna see what YouTube does with my videos today, child. If it keep acting up, we're gonna have to figure something out. Because I love y'all, but I don't do this for free. So let me say hi to the people. You guys come on in, come on in. I have a lot I want to cover with you guys today on this video. So we got another titan of the music industry that is being accused of some very heinous things. I'm gonna be very careful with my language because again, me and YouTube ain't getting along these days. So I want to be very careful with my words. Let me share this out and then we're going to go ahead and get started. So before we get into the lawsuit, I think it's important for y'all to know, some of y'all may not even know who the Dream is. Some of y'all might be like, well, who is the Dream and what are we talking about? The Dream is a music producer who has crossed the line. Like what I mean by that, I mean he has produced for white artists, black artists, older artists, younger artists. Like he has definitely crossed the line. I know a lot of people are throwing Beyonce's name. Y'all know they just looking to make the connection, but he actually has done a lot of work for Beyonce. I'm going to read through a little bit of his discography so you guys can get an idea of who we're talking about. So let me just tell you, these are some people he has produced for. These are some of his production credits. 3LW for Beyonce. He's done Single Ladies. He's done Break My Soul, My House, Riverdance. For Cassie, he's done some songs for her. Sierra, he's done some songs for her. I'm trying to read off the songs that probably y'all will be like, oh, dang, I know that. He's done work for Diddy, Flo Rida, Jamie Foxx, Janet Jackson, Jay-Z, Justin Bieber, Keisha Cole, Lionel Richie, Mariah Carey. He produced Touch on My Body, Obsessed. Mary J. Blige, he produced Stronger with Each Tear. Mario, Nivea. He used to be married to Nivea. Him and Nivea were married. He was also married to Christina Milian. He's produced for Rihanna. He's Umbrella, Birthday Cake, Rita Ora, the Cheetah Girls, Kim Kardashian. Now, sir, Kim Kardashian, though? He has writing credits for pretty much a lot of those same artists. We can add, he has writing credits for Ashanti, B2K. He has written all, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34. He has 34 writing credits for Beyonce. And the only reason why I say that is because that's the longest list on here. Britney Spears, Brooke Valentine, Celine Dion, Sierra again, Diddy, Jay Holiday, Jay Electronica, Jennifer Lopez, Jesse McCartney, Jessie J, Justin Bieber, Lindsay Lohan, Lloyd, Mario, Mariah Carey again, Mary J. Blige again, Maya, Nicole Scherzinger, Nivea, Raheem Devon, Rihanna again, Rita Ora. I mean, again, you guys, I think you get the point that this man has produced. He's either written and or produced hits, because some of these songs he's got producer credit and writer credit on. Young Jock, Usher, T.I., The Carters. So he helped, produce songs on The Carters on Beyonce and Jay-Z's joint album. So before we get into it, and y'all are like, well, who is he? That is who he is. So when you hear people connect these names to him, that doesn't mean that these people have anything to do with it, right? But that's what they're going to do. That's what they're going to do. So, right. And he's actually, he's done some of his own songs as well. He absolutely has. He's done some of his own music as well. So I just wanted, because for some people, I know they were like, well, who is he? Who is he? What's up, Don Don Bull? Some people were like, well, who is he? Who is he? Well, that's who he is. So before we get into the lawsuit, I just wanted to give you guys that. Also, like I said, he was married to Nivea. He was also married to Christina Milian. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. After I got the details on this whole Christina Milian situation, I was side-eyeing him as well. Him and Christina Milian got married. She was pregnant. Allegedly, she accused him of making her sign the divorce papers literally while she was in labor. And she was able to successfully get that. No, he was trying to get her to relinquish her rights to a prenup. It was something that he did while she was literally in labor. Literally, she was in labor. And I believe it was the prenup. I believe he was trying to get her to sign a prenup or something like that. Either way, he was able to get that thrown out. I mean, she was able to successfully get that thrown out. They were, divorced. I think they were only married like 6 months. So yeah. Now this lawsuit, I have full disclosure, I have not read it. So I will be reading it in real time with you guys. You heard that story, Chuck? Yeah, it was a whole situation. And after that, I'm gonna be honest, I just kind of side-eyed him after that, because I was like, that was dirty. Like, she is literally in labor and you trying to get her to sign away some of her rights. I mean, that's a little dirty. That's a little playing dirty. So hold on. So let's pull up this lawsuit. He is being sued of SA. Again, you guys know he left Nivea for Christina. You never win when you play dirty, honey. You never win when you play dirty. Okay. This was the first lawsuit where I had to tap out. Really? Oh, don't tell me that now, Mims. Because listen, if them Diddy lawsuits didn't make you tap out, I'm gonna tell you the one I had to tap out of. Mims, if you ever read that Vince McMahon lawsuit, who was here when we did the Vince McMahon lawsuit? Baby, I had to tap out. Like halfway through, I had to just stop reading. I had to just be like, all right, y'all, let me just read through this and let y'all know what it says. Like, I had to stop reading about halfway through. So if you've never read the Vince McMahon lawsuit, baby, I had to tap out of that one. But okay, let's pull it up. Again, trigger warning. I cannot stress that enough. Mem said he had to tap out, so that tells me already. I was like, what's this? Okay. I'm going to read. I normally put it up on the screen, but I'm not going to put it up on the screen because, again, I have not read it, so I don't want to show something that I don't want you guys to necessarily see. I may share it after I get past this first part, because this first part is usually where they have people's names and all that good stuff. So this is a lawsuit. It was filed on January the 4th. I mean, dang, I said January. June the 4th, which of course is today. It has all the people involved, like I thought. United States District Court of the Central District of California. The complaint is seeking damages. A jury trial is demanded. There is a trigger warning on here. It says this document contains highly graphic information of a sexual nature, including assault. So again, I'm letting you guys know if you think this is going to trigger something, you can tap out now. Shananz Mangro, who was the plaintiff, versus Tyrius the Dream Child, because his name is a lie. Like his mama wrote all that on his birth certificate. We just gonna call him the Dream. Just gonna call him the Dream. So here's the preliminary statement. Of course, they're labeling everybody, the Epic Records, all of the LLCs and the LLPs and all of that. So everybody's there. The Dream is an award-winning songwriter and producer who has risen to fame writing and producing songs for the musical stars of the last 2 decades. He has been hailed as one of the prolific hit makers in the industry and is considered innovative and incredibly talented. He has fashioned himself as a champion of art and artists, once calling major labels This thing is 60 pages long, Mims. Good Lord. He has been held as one of the prolific hit makers in the industry and is considered innovative. I just read that. I'm sorry. He has fashioned himself as a champion of art, an artist once calling major record labels evil and stating that artists are treated like slaves in the record industry. In 2014, Miss Shanaz Mongrove was 23 years old, working in the United States on an international visa from the Netherlands, hoping to land her big break as a singer and songwriter. When associates of Dream reached out to her via social media, she was thrilled. She immediately sent along samples of her work and was quickly invited to join Dream and his partner Tricky Stewart in Atlanta. Tricky Stewart's name was listed on a lot of those songs and those records that I read you guys a few minutes ago. Far from being the amazing breakthrough opportunity she imagined, Miss Mangrove experienced with Dream was nothing short of a prolonged nightmare. Under the guise of pursuing a legitimate recording and publishing contract with her, Dream lured the young and vulnerable artist into an abusive, violent, and manipulative relationship filled with physical assaults, violent encounters, and horrific psychological manipulation. Wow. In both Atlanta and Los Angeles, Dream used his age and influence in the industry to manipulate the young artist into believing that she needed him to be successful and roped her into his world through false promises to gain Miss Mangrove's complete trust. Hold on, let me go back to the chat. I'm not looking at the chat, so let me go back to the chat. Hey, Angela. Yes, thank you. If you need to tap out, we get it. We support that. We support that. Pronounce Shanae. Okay. Thank you. All right. Let me go back to it. Hold on. I got too many windows open. Let me close this window. Okay. He assured her that he would sponsor the extension of her international visa, telling her he would write blockbuster songs for her if she became part of his so-called sanctuary like he did for Beyonce and Rihanna, offering her lofty visions of recording and publishing contracts with major labels, assuring her he would appropriately advocate for her, and promising her that she would open for Beyonce's upcoming tour, going as far as to force her to diet and exercise excessively to prepare for the tour. In reality, Dream used her for his base desires, which manifested in violent acts and vicious psychological torture. For example, he locked her in a dark room adjacent to a recording studio, violently assaulting her and then leaving her alone, naked in the dark for hours on end, returning again to have sex with her and demand that she tell him she loved him. Dream controlled all aspects of her stay in the United States, including providing her housing, transportation, and food expenses. He kept a close track of her location at all times, calling and texting her at all hours to demand updates on her location, or even keeping his own key to her hotel room so he could enter whenever he pleased with no notice. Dream forced Miss Mangrove to drink excessive amounts of alcohol by roughly pulling her head back by her hair and pouring it down her throat. He violently strangled her during violent sex, sometimes with his hands and once using the collar of her dress. On multiple occasions, he choked her so intensely that she almost lost consciousness. He refused to wear a condom and regularly finished inside of her against her protests. When he discovered she was taking birth control, he became enraged because he believed it would be a sign of disrespect. Hold on, y'all. This is my mom. Hold on. I apologize, you guys. I had to take that phone call. That was my mom. Winter. Hey, Winter. Hey, boo. This is the dream. Producer, the dream. That's who we're talking about now. He is being sued by a former protege, and this is the lawsuit. Again, before I keep going, there's a trigger warning on this lawsuit, so just so you guys know. The dream berated her while having sex with her, calling her ungrateful and insisting that she praise him and declare her loyalty to him. He once forced her to have sex against her will in the back of a renovated Sprinter van, the same evening that he forced her to engage in those same acts in a public movie theater. Okay. The dream recorded her having sex and used the existence of those recordings to threaten her into silence. That sounds familiar. Now, doesn't that sound familiar? We had that conversation about Diddy and Cassie. Remember, Cassie said that that's what Diddy did to her and some of the other people that are accusing him? Exactly, Winter. Like, y'all, this is crazy. Okay. His depraved behavior was facilitated by his record label, Contra Paris LLC, as well as by Epic Records, the label Dream, convinced to invest in her, despite the fact that he never intended to truly support her career trajectory, but instead wanted corporate funding to assist in his trafficking venture. Wow. The result of the Dream's heinous acts was that Miss Mangrove's career was upended. Her music was taken from her without any explanation. Contra Paris never provided her any compensation, and every attempt to retrieve her career has been hijacked by the Dream and those who support him. Over more than a year, she experienced trauma that she has still not recovered from. She is broken as an artist, constantly, afraid for her physical safety and plagued by reminders of the violence and the control she experienced at the hands of the Dream, who has continued his successful career unscathed by his horrific acts. Nearly a decade later, she is still trying to put the pieces back together, but she knows that without speaking up about what he did to her, she will never be able to heal from the harm he has caused. She therefore brings this lawsuit to speak up for herself and other female artists who have been tormented by powerful and selfish men in the recording industry. She seeks justice and accountability to prevent further horrific abuse like she experienced and to regain her sense of self as an artist and as a woman. The next part of the lawsuit, you guys know, it gets into venue. They're showing why they have jurisdiction. Then it talks about the different parties who are named. Now is where, again, y'all, we've been doing these lawsuits. So now we get into the next part, which gets into the actual factual allegations. So I'm going to pause there. Hey, Shay, thanks for being a member for a month. Thanks for bringing out Legal Eagle. Child, I do the best I can. All right. Now this is where it gets a little deeper. Okay. So hold on. Let me share y'all want me to share my screen? Now that we've gotten past all the names and all that stuff, I can share my screen. Like I said, I just didn't want to share my screen. I didn't want to accidentally, y'all know some of these lawsuits, they put information that I don't want to necessarily put out there. All right, let me share the screen. I definitely have some thoughts as a sidebar, Winter. I definitely have some thoughts on the conversation you had on. I didn't finish it, but I have to finish your video. But I definitely have some thoughts on what you were talking about over there as it relates to the state of reality TV, child. Okay. The Dream has established himself as a talented and powerful songwriter and producer and is a violent misogynist. Okay. Two things can be true at the same time. This is an allegation. He has not been convicted of anything. I'm going to just say that once again. The Dream is a Grammy Award-winning singer, songwriter, and producer known for authoring some of the most famous modern songs, including Rihanna's Umbrella, Justin Bieber's Baby, Mariah Carey's Touch My Body, and Kanye West's All of the Lights. He is also known as a go-to producer and songwriter for Beyonce, penning her hit songs Single Ladies, Run the World, Partition, and is listed in the credits on every album of Beyonce since 2008, including her most recent Cowboy Carter. His accomplishments have earned him 8 Grammy Awards and a nomination for the newly created category of Songwriter of the Year at the 65th Annual Grammy Awards. Dream also recorded and released his own music on various other labels, including Def Jam and Capitol Records. He is also well connected in the business side of the music industry, being named Executive Vice President of A&R at Def Jam in 2012, where he signed and produced new artists to the label. In 2014, he launched his own record label called Contra Paris. He incorporated the label as a limited liability company in Delaware in December of 2014. According to Dream, Contra Paris was a designer and culture label or an art label funded along with Jay-Z. As he said in one interview, it's about art overall, period. Anything that's art, we're trying to get into. I have a lot of people hitting me on Instagram, guys and girls, and they are trying to fuse music with their culture. Whatever the culture is, as long as it's art. It's not clear if Contra Paris ever signed any artists to his label aside from Ms. Monogro, or whether any records were released by the label. Today, the Contra Paris website appears partially defunct and seems to function as a consignment shop for a handful of items, including clothing that presumably belonged to the Dream. Wait, what? How we go from a record label to a consignment shop? I am confusion. How we go from a record label to a consignment shop for his clothes? I need you, and let me say this: I'm not. No, I don't want nobody to think I'm trying to put 20 on 10. If I'm putting 20 on 10, y'all can put that in the chat. But I think if it sounds like they're trying to say that this record label was just a front that the Dream was using to further cover up what he was trying to do with this woman and maybe other women. The fact that he co-owned this label with Jay-Z is interesting. Now, Jay-Z is not a part of this lawsuit. As far as I saw, let me double check. Let me go. Well, no, because child, they would have said that if Jay-Z was on it, that'd have been that. It'd have started with that. What up, Nay? No, y'all are saying laundering. I'm not saying laundering. I'm talking about she's accusing him of trafficking. Let's finish the lawsuit. I may be getting ahead of myself. Let's finish. But the fact that they said that Jay-Z was a partial owner of this label that is now defunct, and as far as they can tell, never really signed any real artists other than this woman, I think that could be interesting. Now, that might be me putting 20 on 10, but that's the way my brain is going. That's where my mind is working like that. But let me keep reading. The Dream has regularly maintained that he has a soft spot for women. In an interview with the New York Magazine, he was commended for his song celebrating tough cookie feminism and was quoted as saying, "I've always had a soft spot for women because of my mom, just their power. Man's biggest enemy is a woman who has it in for them. I just like being around them, watching, soaking up the transformation, being cursed out, being put out." Another publication noted that Dream has mostly cast himself as a worshiper of women and put them on a pedestal type. Not usually a healthy attitude, but in the R&B landscape, he has stood out as a romantic. Yet this feminist persona is plainly contradicted by the reality of Dream's relationships with women and as highly publicized arrests for DV. Ooh. I didn't know he'd been married. I didn't know he had been arrested for DV. Okay. The Dream has been married multiple times and has fathered 9 children with 4 different women. In 2010, while married to singer Christina Milian, pictures of Dream and his assistant having an affair in the Caribbean leaked online. Dream then filed for divorce from his then wife, all of 9 days before she gave birth to the couple's daughter. Later news stories reported that her divorce settlement was contingent on Million's agreement to never speak about their marriage. His chauvinism was further displayed when asked about his role as a parent to his daughter. In an interview with Essence Magazine, when he asked if he helped Million with the baby, he said the following: "I don't help out because my helping out turns into expectations. I get Violet," that's the name of their daughter, "on a late night, maybe 1 or 2 times. But after that, no. If Christina's tired, call the nanny. Call Violet's granny. We got people." Wow. In 2013, he shared that he was writing a book about relationships. Despite his multiple divorces, he was quoted saying, "But why get married? What do they say? Get the milk without the cow?" Such a statement cruelly refers to women as cattle and further suggests that the Dream does not think romantic commitment is worthwhile. They could be achieved without the commitment. Worthwhile if sex could be achieved without the commitment. The same year, a mere month after making that statement quoted above, Dream was arrested in California for DV incident with his girlfriend at the time, who declined to press charges. Less than a year later, however, the Dream was again arrested on charges of felony assault and strangulation, reckless endangerment, and child endangerment of his girlfriend, who was pregnant at the time. The criminal complaint alleged that the Dream pulled and dragged his ex-girlfriend by her hair, choked her with a necklace she was wearing, kicked her, punched her in the head, grabbed her by the neck, choking her again. His ex-girlfriend took photographs of the bruises Dream left of her. Those pictures showing bruises on her arm and scratches on her neck and wrist were publicly released by TMZ. Outrageously, Dream publicly insisted that his ex-girlfriend press charges to protect her immigration status. And ironically, Dream has been quoted in Rolling Stone as stating that no one takes the time to understand a man or the psychological impacts on men, with men not being able to work as much as they did when I was small. Wait, what? It's not about equal or not. He went on to ask, whoever thought that the weakest part of life would be masculinity? Yeah. Nivea is a singer. Yeah. Me no like him. Okay. Oh gosh. Let's keep going, child. Let's keep going. When the plaintiff was first connected to the Dream, she only knew of his reputation as a famous and accomplished songwriter and had not heard about his history of violence towards women. Those around Dream, however, and the business that supported his artistic endeavors were aware of the violent misogynist that successfully hid his true self behind his songs of female empowerment. Now, I'm gonna say this: how can you say for certain that everybody around him knew if she didn't know? I mean, she got access to TMZ just like everybody else got access to TMZ. I don't think that's a fair statement. If you're gonna say she didn't know, then you can't insist that they knew while insisting she didn't know. Now that's just me. I'm just playing devil's advocate on that one. Like, you can't have it both ways, because she got access to the same stuff and same websites and information they have access to. Okay, but anyway, let me keep reading. Miss Mangro was raised in the Netherlands with a passion, love, and extraordinary talent for writing and recording music. As a teenager, she began posting her songs on social media, developing a devoted following and catching the attention of several well-known producers around the world. In 2012, when she was just 21 years old, she signed a production deal with the U.S.-based production company Shapiro, Bernstein and Company, Incorporated, as a songwriter. As a result, she applied for a 3-year O-1B visa for an alien of extraordinary ability in the arts or extraordinary achievement in the motion picture or television industry. As the then president of Shapiro, Bernstein and Company, Inc. wrote in support of her, Shani is an extraordinary artist who has established herself as one of the top singer-songwriters in Europe. At only 21 years old, she is on the short list of the music industry's most coveted artists, achieving outstanding success in a relatively short period of time. She is sought out after by the top recording artists, labels, producers, and insiders in the business, and her collaboration read like the who's who in the music industry. In further support of her application, the vice president of membership of the American Society of Composers and Authors and Publishers wrote, Shani is an extraordinarily talented artist. In her native Holland, she has earned a reputation as one of Europe's most compelling and creative singer-songwriters, and it's not often that a foreign songwriter like Shani makes such an impact this side of the Atlantic. It's a testament to her spectacular talent and ability that at the tender age of 21, she's on the short list of the music industry's most coveted artists. Not surprisingly, she was awarded a 3-year visa and began frequently working in the United States throughout 2012 to 2015. Throughout this time, she continued to post her work on social media, including Instagram, which is how she ultimately was connected with the Dream. In late 2014, Miss Mangro was considering her options once her visa expired in 2015. She knew that she wanted to focus on her own recording career, and as a result, was speaking to several well-known producers about potential next steps and sponsorship of her visa renewal. Okay, I'm gonna come over to the chat. Y'all know I can't see the chat when I'm reading, so I'm trying to go back and forth. So let me see what you guys are saying in the chat. Yeah, Nivea's Laundromat that was probably one of her most known songs. What's up, Andrea? She's saying they were around to see. Well, but I don't think that's a fair statement because that's a broad statement. For you to say, oh, well, they worked with him, so they must know that he was violent and he did these things, but I didn't know anything about it. All I'm saying is, and that I just feel like that line I felt was a lie. Now, that's her attorney's job, is to put that out there and to make it seem like that. But as I was reading it, I was just like, yeah, I don't think that's a fair statement. If I were on the other side, because I know my brain thinks like that. I try to see things from both sides. That's just how I would have thought. That's all I'm saying. I'm clearly if it was in TMZ, but I'm gonna be honest, I didn't know, but I didn't work with him either. So I guess it's not a fair, comparison because I ain't work with the man. All right. Okay. I'm trying to read through stuff and paraphrase because like I said, this thing is 60 pages long. So I'm trying to, jump through stuff, but still give us the meat and potatoes. It was around that same time in 2014 that the Dream's childhood friend and personal security detail, Chris Garland, reached out to her via Instagram and asked her to send him music to share with the Dream's manager, Merk. We're going to use his nickname because it's like Merrick something. We just going to use Merk or Merrick. I'm going to call him Merk. At the time, Dream and his creative partner, Tricky Stewart, have reached enormous success, including producer and songwriting for all the people. Again, I don't need to read that again. As a successful performer, songwriter, producer, Dream seemed like the perfect fit for her, and who was enormously talented in both performing and songwriting. She was thrilled at the opportunity to get her music in front of him and to have a chance to work with someone who had significant connections and influence in the music industry. She therefore immediately sent him some of her music. Garland quickly responded that he would arrange a meeting between Mangro and I'm gonna say I said Merk, but I think Merrick is better. And she happily said that she could meet with the Dream and his team. In January of 2015, while Ms. Mangro was already in Los Angeles, Merrick reached out to her to arrange for her to fly to Atlanta to meet the Dream. She arrived in Atlanta on January the 29th of 2015, where Garland picked her up from the airport and told her she would be meeting Dream at a club that evening because he wanted to observe how she handled herself in a club atmosphere. Several hours later, Mangro met Dream, Tricky, and Garland in front of the Gold Room Club. Miss Mangro did not have any significant interaction with Dream while they were at the club, but she was told to get into Dream's car with him and Garland at the end of the night. While they drove, Miss Mangrove back to her hotel, Dream discussed taking her to a basketball game the following day. When Mangrove attempted to turn the conversation to getting into the studio to record, the Dream confirmed that she would have the chance to record during the trip. The next day, they went to the studio to record with his sound engineer, Bart Shodel. During the recording session, Ms. Mangrove recorded a verse for the song Transparent, which was supposed to be a part of Dream's forthcoming 2-part EP, Crown Jewel. While the official release of Crown Jewel was delayed, the song eventually leaked online. Dream failed to give any credit or compensation to Ms. Mangrove for her vocals. The following day, they went back to the studio recording the song 187, which Dream had written. Although Ms. Mangrove had no gang affiliation or violent history, she was presented with a song title with the child. Now that was unnecessary too. Paragraph 55 was unnecessary. Who cares? People sing songs all the time about stuff they don't know nothing about and they don't have nothing to do with it. Now, that evening, the Dream arranged for Ms. Mangrove to attend an Atlanta Hawks basketball game with Bert, providing her with courtside seats. After the game, Dream and several others, including Tricky and Garland, took her to a strip club. At that point, Ms. Mangrove had not yet earned the right to have Dream's phone number, so arrangements were made through Garland. Okay. Now, before people start saying, well, why she go to the strip club with him? Listen, a lot of these people do business down to the strip club. They do. You know what I'm saying? A lot of these people, Jermaine Dupri used to be at the strip club all the time. Okay. So I don't want nobody to be like, well, she should have known better. Why she go to the strip club? Because by this time she had been to the club, she had been to the basketball game, but she had also recorded 2 songs. So I want y'all to keep that in perspective. You know what, Ray? Ray, go to the corner. Ray talking about something right because Luther sang about women. Go to the corner, Ray. Go to the corner. Ray, you wrong. Head on over. Corner, Ray. Okay. At one point, one of the strippers came to their table completely naked. Well, that's what happens at the strip club. They naked. The Dream instructed the stripper to get instructed the stripper to get on top of Mangrove. She was visibly uncomfortable with the situation. Dream seemed to enjoy how uncomfortable Mangrove became. He laughed as Miss Mangrove asked the stripper to leave and perform for Dream instead. Dream insisted that the stripper go back over to Mangrove several times throughout the evening. The following day, the Dream texted Miss Mangrove for the first time, an apparent sign that she had passed his test that he had been giving her. After saying hello, the first thing that he texted her was, "Do you have a boyfriend? Boyfriends aren't allowed. It's a distraction." Miss Mangrove was surprised to be asked such a personal question so early on in their communication, but she wanted to be cooperative, so she responded in the negative. As the end of her trip neared, she was still not given a recording contract or any indication that one would be forthcoming, but she remained optimistic because Dream and his team, Dream and his team repeatedly expressed how impressed they were with her vocals and how much they liked her voice and her general style. Finally, shortly before she was scheduled to leave, Dream told her that he wanted to sign her to his label, Contra Paris. She was happy and overwhelmed with gratitude. It truly felt like everything she had been working for was about to come to fruition. He told her that he would make her the next Beyonce and Rihanna. Now, let me say something. Though over here at the ReallyBTV tribe, we do not blame victims. But what I would like to do is use this as a learning tool to point out some red flags. Okay? I want to say something. For any parents who have aspiring, children that are talented and you think that they are talented enough to be the next anything. Okay? I want you to always be cautious when somebody is going to make your child the next anything. First of all, you going to make her the next Beyonce and Rihanna? Yes, another round said Beyonce and Riri, sir, you didn't make the first one. Okay. There are a few red flags. And again, this girl was 21 years old. She was in a foreign country, naive, whatever. So I'm not blaming. We are using this as a learning tool. Learning tool. Okay. All right. There's 200 people in the room. I hope we have 150 likes. Remember, YouTube is playing games with me with my videos. YouTube is playing games with the videos. So please, please, please hit the like button. If you are new here, please subscribe. It is free 99. It is free 99. Now, if you want to make a donation, y'all know I ain't gonna never turn it down. If you want to hit the Cash App or the Super Chat, by all means, we're bringing you this breaking news, okay? Please do. But at the very least, if y'all could just do the like button, because that's free, okay? I appreciate y'all so much. All right, I'm going back. We're going to read a little bit more. Miss Mangrove explained in detail to Dream about her visa situation and that it was set to expire in November of that year, and she needed a new petitioner to continue her visa for the following 3 years. She reiterated that she needed to know if he was serious about signing her and supporting her visa, because if not, she would need to search for another petitioner. Now, what happened to the Bernstein people? Was she not? I mean, I'm not being funny. Is she not writing for them anymore? Did that not work out? Why couldn't they just file the paperwork to extend her? Did I miss that? Again, I'm not being funny. Did I miss that? Did I read that and I missed that part? Because y'all know sometimes I'll be reading and I miss it. Because why couldn't they do it? I don't know. Okay. All right. Y'all put it in the chat if I missed it. But I don't understand why the Bernstein people that she signed with to begin with that brought her over here. I mean, did that relationship end and she was just trying? I know it said she was trying to figure out her next move, but I didn't see where it said that relationship had totally been severed. But neither here nor there. So now here we go. Listen, if we playing devil's advocate, y'all already know what his attorney is going to say, right? She used him to extend her visa. Y'all already know this going to be something that the other attorney going to throw in there. Y'all know that. So let me just read through it though. Okay. Dream assured her and Contra would be her petitioner. Oh, Dream assured her that Contra would be her petitioner and that she did not need to look for one to continue her visa. He promised that she would receive an advance and a written contract soon. He then asked if she would go to Los Angeles with him for the next 10 days to continue recording. She agreed. By this time, she was 23 years old in an entirely new and enticing world. She truly believed that all of her dreams were about to come true. Unfortunately, however, she would soon learn that it was just the start of a long nightmare. Okay. From the moment the Dream began texting her, he began regaling her with stories about how he helped Beyonce and Rihanna and would do the same for her as long as she did everything he told her to do. He told Mangrove that in order to write songs for her, he needed to know everything about her, including everything that embarrassed her, upset her, angered her, excited her, every single thought she had. Perhaps sensing her hesitation and confusion, he let her know how true songwriters and producers needed to operate in order to write the right song for each artist. He said that Miss Mangrove needed to belong to him so they could become the next Bay and Jay. Dream knew how much Mangrove loved and admired Beyonce as an artist. He regularly used her admiration for Beyonce as a way to manipulate her, telling her that the only reason why he achieved such great success with Beyonce is because they created a sanctuary together, which allowed him to know Beyonce in a way that others could not. And consequently, he could write the best songs for her. He explained that a sanctuary was even stronger than a spouse connection because it was about art. Being part of a sanctuary with Dream meant that she was required to disclose all of her secrets and thoughts and become trust partners with him. He said that his relationship with Beyonce was so close that he knew about Beyonce's pregnancy before Jay-Z. For example, the Dream texted her the following: I will need to know things you think or embarrassed about to the furthest extent. I'm going to be your better half if this goes where I think it's going. So this is the only thing I'm going to say about these text messages. I don't know how many more text messages are in embedded, because again, this thing is 60 pages long. I'm sure there's some more examples in here. Just remember, if she's posting these text messages, y'all know that this is not the full extent of what she has, right? Y'all know that they're not going to put everything, just like with Cassie's lawsuit, just like with, they don't put everything in the lawsuit. So the fact that she has text messages lets you know that she saved these conversations with this man. I just want to throw that out there. If she has that, she's got worse. If it exists, if this man really texted her worse things, she has them. Hey, Lisa. Hey, boo. Hey, Novel to Expressions. I haven't seen you in a while. Hey, my love. So Jeff said, and So Jeff is one of the presidents of the Beehive, okay? He said that Miss Tina calls the Dream her bonus son. Right, Diamond Pearl. These are teasers. These are teasers. So just understand that what we're seeing, so I don't want anybody to be like, that ain't nothing. That's not a big deal. That's the teaser. That is to send a message to the Dream's attorneys. Yeah, we got it. Whatever he sent her, we got it. Okay. The Dream reminded her that she better be grateful that he was working with her, because he was putting work on Beyonce's album on hold, and that if she didn't reach the same level of success as Beyonce, she needed to become a close or closer to him than Beyonce. He said that meant that Miss Mangrove should ask and follow his advice on everything, rely on him to be her main confidant, and limit her inner circle to only those people he approved of and trusted. Now, first of all, I'm going to call BS. Now, I call BS on some of this stuff already. I'm just not saying it out loud. There's no way in the world. I believe he might have said this to her. Hey, Dr. Soapy. Hey, boo. I believe he might have said this to her, but y'all know good and damn well he didn't put nothing on hold for Beyonce to work with her. Y'all already know that. First of all, Beyonce is too much of a perfectionist, and when she's going to put out an album or put out a project, I'm sure she has a very specific timeline, and she understands what it's going to look like in her head, and it ain't no way in hell that he was putting his moneymaker. Like I said, when I read y'all his list of credits, he has written more songs or worked on more songs with Beyonce than any other artist on that roster that I read to y'all. Ain't no way in hell he putting his moneymaker on hold to work with you. No, ma'am. Now, he may have told her that, because it clearly sounds like that this is classic behavior of manipulation and isolation, which is classic behaviors of a abuser. Like, we see it happen all the time in abusive relationships where they want to isolate you from your family, from your friends, and all of that. Ain't no way in hell. But I believe, now let's be clear, I believe he may have said that. I'm not saying I'm not calling her a liar. I'm saying he's clearly manipulating her into feeling like this is what's needed, right? He's clearly manipulating her. Okay. Again, allegedly. Okay. The dream also told her that if she acted right, he would share the specific formula he used with Beyonce, and that would be only 2 artists with those industry secrets. He routinely pointed out that he could make any new artist successful, but he was choosing her. So he expected her to respect him correctly. Dream frequently pitted Rihanna against Beyonce, implying that Rihanna was fighting for his attention and was frustrated that he was giving it to Beyonce instead of her. He said that Rihanna was begging him for good records, but because of his special sanctuary relationship with Beyonce, he saved them for her. Well, he saved them for Beyonce, and that Miss Mangrove could be a part of that as well. According to Dream, Rihanna was possessive over him and got angry when he worked with Beyonce. In an apparent effort to reiterate how grateful Ms. Mangrove should be for the opportunity to work with him, Dream told her that Rihanna would frequently send him flowers and other gifts. He reiterated that Rihanna had to work to make him give her hit records, and he was choosing to work with Mangrove instead. In one of their earliest text exchanges, Dream asked Mangrove when she lost her virginity, explaining that Rihanna had told him this information about herself, insinuating that artists he worked closely with shared such intimate information with him. The dream led Mangrove to believe that through manipulation and coercion, that if she allowed him to completely control every aspect of her life, they could create the ultimate sanctuary that would surpass anything he accomplished with Beyonce or Rihanna. When she questioned the idea of the sanctuary or asked him to clarify what he meant, she would receive evasive responses like the following: I'll let you know after we win 10 Grammys together. Right now, you just have to be free and let me undress you emotionally. Do I can know what's underneath your heart? Okay. Do I can know. That's clearly a typo. That's supposed to be so I can know what's underneath your heart. Okay. For a new artist, the thought of becoming the next Beyonce or Rihanna was obviously intoxicating, and Miss Mangrove was willing to work as hard as possible to make her recording dreams come true. Let me come back to the chat. Yes, this is the same one that married Nivea and Christina Milian. Yes. Vintage said, wait till Beyonce and Rihanna hit this mess. Well, first of all, I think, again, we've heard these rumors for years that Beyonce and Rihanna were pitted against each other. But a lot of times, Jay-Z was the one that was put in the middle of that, right? It was Jay-Z that was allegedly the middle, and that they were, being manipulated or what have you. So Jeff, me too. He said, I hate that I believe every word of this. I mean, it's all allegedly. This is all accusations. But honestly, I believe this because we've heard for years about Rihanna and Beyonce being pitted against each other, right? Now, this would sound ridiculous if this wasn't Cassie's lawyer. Damn word is. Well, Cassie's lawyer has not let me down. Can I just say that? So far, Cassie's lawyer has not let me down, unlike Lil Rod's lawyer. So, I mean, I'm just going to say it. Baby, we got more text messages. Dream told her that he was working on Beyonce's new tour and that if everything went well, she could open for her, but shared this promise only in the context of his emotional manipulation of her. So this is another text. I think the more freedom you give me, the more relationships I'll be able to put you through and in. I'm a straightforward person. Things like the Beyonce opening isn't a big deal to get it done. That's my family. See, I mean, again, I can't authenticate this text. I can't say that this is real. However, we just gonna say, all right. Child, we got a long way to go. Buckle up, get comfortable, get you a drink. Hold on, let's see how many people in the chat. Is the bar open? Tracy, are you here? Tracy got the bar open. It's how many? It's 200 of y'all. So y'all know that the hookah is out upstairs. Okay. If y'all are new here, the hookah, y'all going upstairs. If you need to get you a little herbal libation, going upstairs and we done pulled out the hookah. Tracy's pouring drinks in the back because just buckle up. We got a long way to go. Okay. Right. I don't think that Beyonce and Rihanna really were beefing. I think they were being manipulated. We know it happens all the time, especially with female artists. They're manipulated against each other. I mean, look at the rap battles now. Like, these women are being manipulated into a lot of this. Like, they don't have no reason to have no beef with each other. All right. I heard B and Matthew wanted the dream after Umbrella. Well, y'all know Umbrella was supposed to be a Mary J. Blige song. That was a Mary J. Blige song that she turned down. Yeah. And what's funny is I can absolutely hear Mary J. Blige singing Umbrella. Like, that would have been a hit for Mary J. Blige. That would have been a hit for Mary J. Blige. If you could hear her singing, I could hear Mary J. Blige singing Umbrella. And it would have been a hit. I absolutely think that would have been a hit for Mary J. Blige. They said that she didn't like that repetitive Brella, Ella, Ella. She thought it was corny. She didn't like it. Hey Des, hey Boo. Okay, I see y'all putting y'all drink orders in the chat. Okay, it would have been a different vibe with Mary. Yes, but I could hear Mary J. Blige singing that. Like, when I found out that was a Mary J. Blige song, I immediately was like, yes, I understand now why they gave it to Mary J. Blige first. I can absolutely hear Mary J. Blige singing that song. You can't hear it, Andrew? I can absolutely hear it. Forget about the Ella. Think about the chorus. You had my heart. Like, y'all can't hear Mary singing that? Man, I absolutely can hear her singing that. But anyway, moving on. Back to this. Miss Mangrove had no reason to believe, I'm going to just start saying Miss M, had no reason to disbelieve what Dream was telling her at the time. He was successful and made hit records with Beyonce and Rihanna and convinced her that the two of the most successful recording artists were dependent on him for their success. He regularly held his age and experience in the industry over her, telling her that she simply did not understand how his methods were necessary to success and instilling in her that she should be grateful for his efforts to help her, placing himself on a pedestal and emphasizing that her success was only possible thanks to Dream. For example, he stated over the following text. Oh, child. Baby, he keep dropping these texts. Y'all, listen. He keep dropping these texts. So here goes some more text, y'all. It means more to me than you can imagine. My risk should tell you that in your mind, you should know that I'm risking something far greater than anyone ever has for and with you. And it's because I know it's beyond explanation. You can't explain this, so don't even try and don't mention it. That's why the government denies things. It isn't because it's not true. It's because a lesser mind wouldn't understand. So why stop the life they have to change what they love about their life? It's actually an unselfish thing to hold in a truth. Child, that would hurt my brain. Somebody talking to me like that all the time would absolutely hurt my brain. Child, bye. Miss M was drawn into a whirlwind of lofty messages like this and was quickly convinced that she needed Dream to make it in the music industry and therefore was willing to take any and all direction from him. Only now does she see that Dream was using fraud and coercion to manipulate her into believing that she was being bought into a legitimate business arrangement, not a venture to use for her and his violent sexual desires. On February 4th of 2015, she arrived in Los Angeles directly from Atlanta. Soon after she arrived, she began receiving messages from Dream that were extremely flirtatious, including asking her if she wanted to lose her virginity again, implying that he wanted to have sex with her. That evening, she was in the studio and he complained that she needed to loosen up for the sake of the music and pressured her to drink alcohol and smoke weed in excessive quantities. He told her that Reese smoked so much that while she's smoking one blunt, Jen and Melissa and Melissa, y'all know that's Rihanna's best friend, are already rolling the next one. Even though Miss Mangrove did not enjoy using drugs and alcohol, she felt pressured to meet his expectation of a hit artist. Throughout the evening, while they were in the recording studio, he became more aggressive in pressuring her to have sex with him. He assured her that sex with him was part of the process, and he could only write hit songs for her if she agreed to let him know everything about her. In an effort to deter Dream, Miss M tried to argue that she did not want to do anything that could complicate making great music. In response, he told her that she agreed to be his trust partner and that not listening to him and doing what he wanted was a sign of disrespect. Miss M, who was alone in the United States and increasingly confused and frightened about the situation she was in, tried to protest again. He reiterated that she was part of something special, and he let her into his sanctuary because she was so talented and that she was part of something bigger and anything she could understand. In the studio, he began to touch her, and she pulled back, suggesting that it was not a good idea to be flirtatious when others were around. He proceeded to take her through the house where the studio was located, eventually bringing her to a pitch black bedroom. Upon arriving in the bedroom, she had no doubt about what his intentions were. She told him, "I don't know about this and I don't want to ruin this." He responded by telling her this was really important and they did not have time to waste. He insisted that this will only make the records that much better. He then grabbed her hands, placed them on his privates, and then quickly escalated, pushing her down on the bed and inserting his penis into her. Others in the studio began to look for them, causing him to leave the bedroom and go back to the studio. When he did so, he locked the bedroom door with her inside, naked and in the dark. Can I say something? Can I say something? I don't want to sound like I'm nitpicking. I don't want to sound like I'm nitpicking. But did he take her clothes when he left? Because y'all had clothes on when y'all got there. So he left you naked, but you didn't. Okay. I'm going to just keep reading. After some time, he returned to the bedroom and again had sex with her. He did this repeatedly for hours, leaving her tired and confused. During this ordeal, he told her this was going to be great. She also demanded that he tell her that she loved him. In fact, he would only stop aggressively having sex with her once she said that she loved him. When he finally let her leave the bedroom, it was around 6 a.m. The sun had risen and most of the people from the studio had left. Tricky, however, did see her and Dream leave the bedroom at that hour. She returned to her hotel confused, but tried to remain grateful and hopeful for what she believed was her big break. Given his pressure and insistence, Miss Mangrove felt it was useless to continue protesting. Instead, she tried to convince herself that it was a consensual interaction. It was easier to believe what Dream was saying than to face the reality of the situation. Then a famous and significantly older producer was using his influence and power to make a younger woman on her own in a foreign country have sex with him. Dream later texted her and acknowledged that he pressured her into having sex with him. In particular, he texted, entering you was like walking through a door of roses. Sure, there are some thorns, but isn't it beautiful? Diamonds can't be made without pressure. Nothing great can. On February the 7th, he texted her, "We're married through art, and I won't ever let anyone take advantage of you and will I'm sure that's supposed to be protect you in the end, like a knight." Unfortunately, it was Dream who she needed the protection from, and there was no knight willing to help her when she needed it the most. Throughout her time in Los Angeles, Miss M and Dream were in the studio at the same time. He expected her to be available to have sex with him whenever he demanded it. He refused to use protection. While she was in Los Angeles, Miss M became sick with strep throat and was given antibiotics. She knew the antibiotics would lessen the effectiveness of her birth control and begged him not to finish inside of her. He refused. At one point while they were in Los Angeles, she physically tried to get away from him to avoid him finishing inside of her. He held her arms down and did it anyway, despite her protests. This type of violent sex control manipulation became more and more common as the days passed. All right, we'll pause there. Let me come back to the chat. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. I'm just reading the comments, making sure I'm not missing anything. All right. On or around February the 13th, he sent her sexually explicit texts, including one that said, "I want to F your bladder so hard that it made you piss all over me." What? In between sending her those messages, he texted her about the recording deals he was working on for her, including, "We will have major distribution in about 30 days, so you better be ready." He frequently used this type of manipulation where he intertwined business promises with violent sex. On February the 14th, he texted her that she must care about what he cares about and said, "Your life is now, you have way more room, but I will care about those things in your life like they are my own. Your mother is my mother. Your father, your brother, your friends are mine." There's no S on that word, but okay. "Your enemies I will inherit as my enemies." Was he reading too much Shakespeare? What is he talking about? When Miss M said she did not understand, he responded, "This is that other shit. Blood in, blood out." And let's be clear, because all of these things are in quotation marks, let's be clear, he has the text. He has the text because he's putting these in quotation marks. Rihanna once said Jay-Z held her for hours until she signed the contract. It was 3 a.m. until she was able to leave. The power dynamic with these men is something serious. Child. She definitely has a strong harassment case. The other stuff could be corroborated with witnesses, pictures, or hospital reports. He married Christina Milian. They have a child together. Yep. Well, he is a writer. Child. Listen. I'm reading this stuff like, what is this? What? All right. All right, y'all. And I want y'all to pay attention to the timeline. This still has not been that long. Uh-oh. Hold on. Okay. Can y'all see me and hear me? Hold on. The screen just went blank. Let me make sure y'all can still see me and hear me. Okay, y'all can still see me and hear me. I was really beginning to think these music men were watching certain types of movies. They're bringing that stuff into real life. They really are. Child. Okay. So again, this all started in January. This is February. So again, so far we're talking about a matter of weeks. The following day, he left Los Angeles for work obligations and gave her permission to go home to Amsterdam as long as she moved to Atlanta within 4 days. Well, hell, how long was she supposed to stay in Amsterdam? What the hell? Miss M was in a precarious state at the end of her Los Angeles trip. From a professional standpoint, she felt incredibly excited about the work she had done and could really see her visions of becoming a recording artist come true. However, she also felt increasingly confused with and fearful of the dream. He was volatile and quick to anger. If she did not quickly comply with his demands, yet in such a short period of time, he had also told her he loved her and would protect her and cared more about her than anyone else ever would. It was dizzying, which was precisely his intent in his campaign of psychological and physical manipulation. Again, remember, you guys, she's 23 years old and her stand in the country is contingent on keeping this man happy. Okay? So I'm gonna keep all of that into perspective as well. In order to convince Miss M to move to Atlanta, he promised that the contract was forthcoming, that he would find her an apartment to live in, and that he would pay her expenses in Atlanta until she received her advance. As a result, Miss M flew to Amsterdam on February the 17th to pack up all of her belongings and prepare to move to Atlanta. On the day before she left Los Angeles for Amsterdam, he texted her and said, "Hopefully we will have a deal memo in place before you come back," to confirm that was the plan. On the same day, during a text conversation, Miss M Dream text on On the same day, during a text conversation with Miss M, Dream texted, "I will not let anyone disrespect you. This contract will be fair and respectful from my end, period. And I'm going to pay your advance out of my pocket, FYI. I also, other than Trick and Mark, would love to be involved in your management process." Before Miss M could even respond to the Dream's promise of her contract deal will be fair and respectful, he said, "I need to see inside that pussy though. As your man, now go in the restroom, pull your panties to the side, and take a pic." Excuse me. Because Miss M is also a songwriter, she asked Dream whether the contract would include a publishing deal. In response, he said he would love to do all of her stuff and that he had already told Big John, aka John Platt, the then chairman and CEO of Warner Chappell Music, once Miss M was finished with the label, he would get with him to get her publishing deal in place. He told her to have her attorney put in any and all contracts that is an option is always to go with Dream. If there's ever a departure of Dream and Trick working together, this is what's referred to as a key man clause. While Miss Mangrove was in Amsterdam, Dream texted her insistently, asking whether she was behaving, where she was, what she was doing. On February the 18th, he told Miss M via text that Rihanna had just sent him a sexual text, a not so subtle hint to remind Miss M to be grateful for him because Rihanna was allegedly interested in him. I want to also say this, and again, I don't want none of the beehive to come at me. He is also alluding to, and I meant to say this, I was going to say this before, by him saying all these things and allegedly comparing all of these things to Beyonce and Rihanna, y'all know he's low-key implying that he had this same relationship with them, right? Y'all do know that he's low-key implying that he slept with Rihanna and Beyonce. I need y'all to read that. He talking about the sanctuary and how he made them stars. So Jeff, I ain't gotta say it. That's what he's saying. So Jeff, you did that. So Jeff did that. You made that water go on my face. So Jeff did that. I was drinking my water and it got some on my face. So Jeff did that. Okay. Yes, hence why one of the red flags was the Warren Jay-Z. Yep. Right. Symmetry said it ain't low-key at all. Exactly. So now he's coming right out and implying that Rihanna, was interested in him. Okay. On February the 19th, he texted her, "You belong to me now. I'm your mother and father and everything." When Miss M arrived in Atlanta on February the 21st, Garland picked her up from the airport with a gun sitting between them in the SUV. He told her that she needed his protection because Atlanta was a crazy place. She discovered later that Garland was often carrying Dream's weapons because the Dream had a pending DV charge and was not permitted to have any weapons. She also was put in an isolated residence which was not within walking distance of anything. It did, however, allow Dream to come and go as he pleased without detection. Dream had his own key to her room and reminded her that he could stop by at any time, and he frequently did enter her hotel room with little or no notice. Miss M could not drive and was relying on Dream for money and for all of her expenses because she had not yet received her contract in advance and was essentially trapped in that residence inn unless Garland took her somewhere. While she occasionally used Uber, Garland reiterated that it was a safety concern that the Dream expected him to transport her. Garland made sure to let Miss M know how closely he was watching her when she took Ubers, as she would ask her why the Uber driver took her to a certain route, whether the driver was trying to talk to her, and how much she spoke to the driver. So that must mean that she was using an Uber account that didn't belong to her if they had access to a child. The Dream became increasingly controlling after Miss M moved to Atlanta. He told her that she needed to check in with him every day, she needed to be available to him whenever he called, and that she should depend only on him for anything she needed. Miss M was no longer allowed to attend events or go to clubs with Dream. She was expected to stay in her hotel room unless she was recording or at the gym. He regularly texted what she was eating and telling her to go to the gym while making unannounced visits to check in on her. Dream forced Miss M to change her social media handles to include references to Contra Paris and regularly demanded that she remove certain posts from her social media, therefore further isolating her from the outside world. Miss M had to beg to go to the studio. She was never given a schedule. Instead, she was just expected to be prepared to go whenever she was called. When she asked Dream if she could go to the studio, he would chastise her and call her a brat. He would tell her that she had to stop thinking only about herself and that he was an important producer who was working with a lot of important people, and he did not have time for her nagging about getting in the studio. It was not at all what Miss M expected after being in the studio nonstop during her first visit to Atlanta and Los Angeles. Everything felt different once she committed to living in Atlanta and was under his complete control. In between berating Miss M, Dream continued coming to her hotel or meeting her in the studio whenever he wanted to demand sex. He also began doing walkthroughs of her hotel room to look through all of her belongings, including her medication. He got very angry when he discovered that she was taking birth control and demanded that she throw them away. According to the Dream, it's a sign of disrespect to try to prevent pregnancy by him. Miss M, who had no desire to be pregnant at the time, began hiding her pills under her mattress. Now, let me say this. The fact that this man got 9 kids, I mean, makes you think that, again, there's some validity to what he's saying about having kids. He got 9 of them. Not surprisingly, Miss M had a pregnancy scare shortly after she arrived in Atlanta. The Dream sent Garland to buy a pregnancy test, and when it came back negative, Miss M let Dream know via text. He immediately called her and screamed at her for almost an hour because he said it was an insult to him that she was happy that she was not pregnant. In the very early morning of February the 25th, while at Triangle Sound Studios, he plied her with alcohol and marijuana and forced her to have sex with him while he recorded it. Miss M, who was highly intoxicated, tried to stop him from recording, but he refused. The next day, Garland told Miss M that for a skinny girl, she had nice curvy thighs. It was the first time that Garland had ever made a comment about her body. While she had no way of knowing whether that was a coincidence, it certainly seemed designed to send a message that Dream shared the unconsented sex tape. She was humiliated. Dream would later regularly use the recording to threaten her that he could share it with anyone he wanted. He insisted that Miss M tell him that she loved him. She regularly had to send him text messages expressing how grateful and thankful she was for him in order to avoid being screamed at for being a brat. She was also expected to regularly buy him flowers and express her gratitude. Dream began having Garland call Miss Mangro at all hours of the day or night to ensure that she was in her hotel room. If Miss M was sleeping or unavailable for any reason, he would be infuriated. Y'all know what I'm saying. Dream and Garland also began monitoring the food that Miss M ate and how often she worked out because Dream thought she had gotten a little too thin and wanted her to be curvier, specifically suggesting that she should change her body in anticipation with the Beyonce tour that she would be able to open for. Miss M was often very hungry because Garland monitored what she ate. If she mentioned something she ate, Dream would tell her she would need to work out extra hard the next day. So wait a minute. Is it that you got too thin or you got too fat? Because if you got too thin and they wanted you curvier, it seemed like they would be feeding you, not. I don't care. Miss M considered Garland to be something of a confidant when she first arrived in Atlanta. How he often asked her how she was doing and was initially very kind to her. However, if she complained that she had not been to the studio for a few days or that she was stuck in her hotel room for several days in a row, Garland would tell her that all she needed to worry about was keeping Dream happy. As he explained, in substance, if Dream says something is vanilla, even if you see and know it's chocolate, if he tells you it's vanilla, it's vanilla. Garland casually made statements that he would kill anyone who had an issue with Dream. Given that he regularly displayed a weapon, she took his statement as a veiled threat. Miss M continued to ask when she would be allowed to be back in the studio to record, but Dream continued to push it off. He also asked if she could start writing songs, given that Dream said her deal would include a publishing songwriting component. But she was not permitted to write anything. Dream considered it an insult that she asked and accused her of insulting his songwriting. Miss Mangrove continued asking about her contract. On February the 28th, Dream said that her contract will be finished soon and again ordered her to ensure that her attorney inserted a key man clause into her contract with Contra Paris. As Dream wrote in an email to Miss Mangrove, basically, no matter terms or partners, ultimately you choose to exit binding participants in contract other than the Dream. If Dream goes, you go, still remaining bonded to Dream for the remaining term of any contract. Again, if he's saying he has it, I'm believing when he puts these things in quotation marks, I'm believing that he has copies of that email. Exactly, Liza. We know that he made Christina Milian sign a prenup while she was giving birth. She got it thrown out. Thank goodness, though. But yes, we remember that. Yep. We talked about that. Mm-hmm. All right, you guys, hold on. We halfway there, y'all. We halfway there. This man stays insulted. His paper thin skin. All right, let's keep going. With little to no autonomy or freedom, Miss M continued to tell Dream what he wanted to hear, that she was loyal to him, that she wanted the key man clause, and that she loved him. During the second week of March 2015, after a few weeks in the Residence Inn, Miss M discovered bed bugs and asked Garland to place her in a new hotel. For reasons only known to Dream, Miss M's request infuriated him. He screamed that she was trying to take advantage of him and that she was not loyal and that she was a brat. Miss M tried desperately to explain herself, but Dream's anger continued to escalate. He told her that it was her fault that Beyonce's album was delayed and that he had the right to tell her what to do to him sexually to make it up to him. He demanded that Miss M apologize to him for the delays to Beyonce's album while he forced her to perform sexually by commanding oral sex. The Dream he did it. He did it. When she attempted to signal with her hands that he was choking her, he said that he was her boss and continued forcing himself inside of her. Eventually, Dream began to choke with both hands. As she began to pass out, he continued to scream that she was taking advantage of him. He stormed out and left Miss M in shock and with several bruises on her neck. Fortunately, she knew that Dream was leaving town shortly, so she would have a few days to recover. He never apologized or mentioned the strangling incident again, and unfortunately, it would not be the last time he became physically abusive. On or around March the 14th, he left Atlanta to handle work obligations elsewhere. Miss M wished him a safe flight before he took off, but when she did not text him the following day, he texted her and said, "You know damn well you need to check in." Well, she at the hotel. She can't go nowhere without your bodyguard taking her. During the next few days, Miss M made sure to say hello or good morning. When she missed one day on or around March the 21st, Dream texted her, "You're not checking in." Miss M responded that she had checked in with Garland every day as she was required to do. On the following day, Dream texted Miss Mangrove to say, my international wife, I think it's time for me to hit that ussy. When are you having my baby? 2023? When Miss Mangrove did not immediately respond, Dream texted, "You're ignoring me now?" She immediately responded and said, "No, I'm not ignoring you. I'm studying." What you were studying? He then threatened her that he was going to drive over to where she was and said he was on the way, even though Miss M later learned he wasn't even in the state at the time. When Miss M did not respond quickly enough, Dream texted, "That is deaf ignoring. You better not be cheating on me." As soon as Miss M saw her messages, she told Dream that her phone was on silent to try to placate his escalating anger. When Dream returned from his trip, Miss M tried to focus on recording and stayed focused on her goals while keeping Dream as calm as possible. On the rare occasion that Miss M was allowed to go into the studio, Garland said that Dream told him to make sure she was liquored up before getting there. If Dream was at the studio when Miss M arrived, he would check to make sure she was intoxicated, and if he did not think she was drunk enough, he would forcibly pull her hair back and force her to drink more alcohol. If Miss M wore her hair in a ponytail, he would roughly yank her hair back and pull out her hair tie. Miss M had become so isolated and dependent on Dream for food and shelter in such a short period of time, it became increasingly difficult for her to comprehend the reality of her situation. Oh, child. On or around March 2015, Dream told Miss M that Antonio L.A. Reid reached out to him about signing her to Epic Records. Dream said he would handle all the negotiations with Epic, refusing to include her and insisting that any question she asked him to get a better understanding of the situation was disrespectful. On or around the same time, Miss M was staying at a new hotel that provided a driver who would take guests to destinations within a short distance. This was the first time she had any freedom to control when and where she could eat. She often asked the driver to take her to get food and get to know him a bit. After several weeks, he expressed concern for Miss M because he said she was always alone and never left the hotel except to get food, and she did not appear well. It was the first time that Miss M had any real contact with anyone other than Dream and the people he surrounded himself with. She felt embarrassed and ashamed that the driver could tell something was wrong. Miss M knew that her physical and mental state was deteriorating and was trying to figure out a way to go back home until she had her recording contract in place, and she believed she could protect her from his control and abuse, especially given that most of her time was spent alone, just waiting for Dream or someone from his team to tell her she needed to be in the studio. Child. I'm just coming over to read the chat. Y'all talking amongst yourselves. Okay. All right. It's 230 of y'all. I hope I got 200 likes. Hope I have 200 likes. Okay. Okay. Dream, who was married, had a child. Wait, what? Dream, who was married, had a child on the way in May of 2015, so he was more distracted than usual. Miss M used that time to ask if she could leave for a few days to visit her mother. Dream told her she could only go home if she left all of her belongings with Garland. Perhaps sensing Miss M's newfound realization of the abusive situation she was in, his sexual assaults intensified. On one occasion, Dream told Miss M that he wanted to take her to a movie. When they arrived, there was another man in the theater who they did not know. Dream demanded that Miss M perform oral on him while the man watched. She said no. He got angry and forced her to have sex with him in the theater while the man presumably watched. It was a physically painful encounter. On that same evening, he took her to the parking lot of the Triangle Sound Studio in his Sprinter van, which had been remodeled as a tour van with a mattress in the back. Once they arrived in the gated lot, Dream told her they were not actually going to the studio, but instead he asked her to leave and enter the van from a separate entrance at a different time than he did, seemingly in an attempt to keep his plans a secret from others present at the studio. Once in the van, Dream locked the doors and pushed Miss M into the dark area of the van. He pinned her on the mattress, took off her clothes, and started forcibly having sex with her. He pressed his full body weight onto her while covering her mouth and nose with his hands so that she was unable to breathe. He told her that he was angry that she wanted to go home and screamed at her that she was difficult and ungrateful as he forced himself onto her. Dream then began to choke her, demanding that she tell her, "You are mine," and instructing her to say, "You're mine." His aggression scared her, and the choking became so intense that she believed she might have lost consciousness at one point. He told her that she better remember who she belongs to while she was gone, demanding that she tell him that she loved him, and further told her that he knows everything about her and is the foundation of her career and of her recording project. Once he finished, he instructed her to come to the parking lot and take Miss M back to her instructed Garland, Miss Mangrove had bruises across her neck from his strangulation. Miss M left for Amsterdam with one small bag on or around April the 7th of 2015. At that time, Dream instructed her she could only be in Amsterdam for a few weeks as the recording contract and distribution deal were finalized and executed. On or around April 11th, she texted Dream about a Billboard magazine interview he did that had just been published. He previously told her he was going to discuss her as one of his new artists in the interview. She never came up in the interview. So she texted him to ask why she was not mentioned. It was an innocent inquiry, but caused him to fly into a rage. He sent several pages of text messages in response saying, "It wasn't about you. It was about me. Don't patronize me. You know I'm smarter than you. Stop being so selfish." Well, he said her name, so it's clear that he was talking to her. So stop being so selfish. Don't ever call me about something so minute again. Please. You treat me like I'm some side bitch or something, or as if I'm not important just because I made you important. I'm giving up. I'll let everyone know where we stand. Miss M, who was just excited about the possibility of being mentioned in the article, was completely taken aback by his reaction because he was becoming more and more unpredictable. She realized that anything she asked him had the potential to make him angry, and that she had no way of knowing what would and would not cause such an explosive reaction. She was very thankful to be having the conversation via text instead of in person. Dream refused to speak to her for several days, and she was left completely in the dark about whether he was planning to move forward with her record deal. Garland then texted Miss M to say he had spoken to Dream. He told her that she needed to play her role, show she was humble, show her passion and loyalty, and provide a gift to him as a peace offering. Garland suggested customized Contra Paris clothing to prove to the Dream she was committed. Child. Dream eventually responded to Miss M. She was forced to reiterate how grateful she was to him, tell him what he meant, that he meant everything to her, and so forth. She continued texting him good morning to ensure that she was checking in as he ordered. On or about April the 16th, he texted Miss M to say that L.A. Reid and Records were going to be their partner on her record deal. This essentially meant that once she signed a recording contract with Contra, she would sign a distribution deal with Epic. Once both of the contracts were signed, Miss M's album could be finalized and released. On April the 21st, while she was still in Amsterdam, she finally signed her contract with Contra. It was a recording and shopping contract that provided Contra with exclusive rights to all studio and audio-visual recordings, in addition to a 6-month time period to enter into a substantially negotiate a distribution agreement. The contract specifically noted that Dream was an agent of Contra, and they're just establishing the connection, the LLC. On May 1st, Miss M signed her Epic Records contract. On the same day, Dream texted her, "It will always be mine, not just your ussy, all of you, your blood, your mind, your heart." Dream maintained complete control over communications concerning her deal with Epic. He refused to connect her to anyone directly or even include her in the email or text chains with the executives from the major record labels she was now signed to. Let me come back to the chat. Let me see what y'all saying in the chat, child. She'd been putting up with all of this for the Dream up until this point. Why was she signed with him after all of that? Stay away from Vince McMahon lawsuit. Wow, this is bad. Oh, no, the Vince was worse so far. So far. Now, again, I'm not done. We still got a few more pages. But so far, the Vince McMahon one was bad. It was bad. But yeah, this is definitely textbook grooming. Absolutely, ma'am. Absolutely. This is textbook from the beginning. From the very beginning, this was textbook. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But yeah, definitely stay away from the Vince McMahon one, because that was bad. All right. We almost, I ain't gonna lie, say we almost done, but we're more than halfway there. Let me say that. We're more than halfway done. Miss M had a return ticket booked to Atlanta for May the 12th. She texted Dream to confirm that he wanted She texted Dream to confirm that he wanted her to return on that date, but given that his son was born just a few days earlier, he told Miss M that he would let her know when to return to Atlanta. Finally, in late May, Miss M was told that Reed and Joey, former executive vice president of A&R at Epic Records, wanted to meet her in person. She returned to Atlanta on or around May the 26th to prepare. Dream told her to practice three specific records for the meeting: Married to the Game, 187, and Road. However, when they got to the studio with Reed, Dream began playing a fourth song, CREAM. On that one, Dream specifically refused to send to her to allow her to practice in an effort to embarrass and sabotage her in front of Reed. Why would he do that? After Miss M performed, Dream turned his chair toward her, placed his hand on her bare inner thigh, and stroked her leg in front of Reed and Joey while the group spoke about her performance. It was humiliating for Miss M and served only to assert Dream's dominance over her. During the group conversation, Reed said that he liked how sexy Miss M was, which infuriated Dream. After Reed and Joey left the studio, Dream mentioned Reed's comment and forcibly had sex with her in the vocal booth while Garland guarded the studio door. It was so rough and painful that Miss M began to bleed. Miss M did not want to have sex with Dream at the time and certainly did not consent to the physical violence and force he used during the encounter. During this trip to Atlanta, Miss M celebrated her 24th birthday and posted a selfie to her social media to celebrate the occasion. Dream immediately texted her to delete it. She quickly complied. He said, "You can't keep doing and undoing. If you don't get it, just say you don't get it and we can move on. I got my own shit to worry about." It was yet another not so subtle threat that if Miss M did not do exactly as she was told, he could destroy her career. Miss M flew back to Amsterdam on or around May the 29th to await further details about the next steps. It was only then that Miss M was provided with any compensation for the work she had been doing for the Dream. Miss M was told that Dream and Tricky both received $150,000 upon the execution of the contract. Miss M remained extremely confused about the next steps, but became afraid to ask Dream any scheduling questions because he took that as a sign of disrespect. She reached out to the sound engineer to ask if he knew anything about the schedule. She told him that Dream told her they were going to finish recording the album in in Las Vegas, but that she was not given any time frame despite trying to figure it out. Sound engineer confirmed that the Dream said the same thing to him and then said, but not allowed to ask about timing, right? That's what he said to me too. Vegas. Wonder when, if I hear anything, I'll let you know. Miss M responded, yes, I'll let you know too. It's crazy, right? I don't know anything about my album. I'm supposed to get a schedule. Nothing. Miss M also started asking Dream more questions about Beyonce's tour because he continued to regularly tell her she was prepping for it. Dream played Miss M a song he wrote for Beyonce that featured Jay-Z. He told Miss M that he was not allowed to play the song for anyone, but he allowed her to hear it just to get her excited for the tour. Weeks later, Miss M mentioned to the sound engineer that Dream played her a new Beyonce song. She was excited about hearing it and asked him not to tell Dream. Why would you tell? Girl! However, to her shock, he told Miss M that it was an old record that they had cut and it ultimately did not make the previous album. It was not part of a new album or a tour. In fact, as it turned out, Beyonce was not prepping for a tour at all. Miss M started to realize the dizzying whirlwind Dream had led her through was a mirage, and she started to fear that Dream never truly wanted to produce a record, but just wanted to control her physically and mentally. Damn. In mid-June of 2015, Miss M asked Dream when she could come back to start work again. He said, you do know you need to approve if I want to go out there. You're the one that controls my budget. Also, I can be there this weekend, so it's up to you. After Dream responded, he thought Miss M was flying herself to Atlanta, i.e., using her own money instead of the money in her epic budget. Miss M said she could do that, but she thought Dream wanted her to stay there, which she could not afford to do on her own. Dream then told her he did not want to burn out her budget. We are planning on finishing the record in Las Vegas. As a result, Miss M was forced to continue waiting for the Dream to provide permission to use her budget for her traveling and living expenses or to go back into a studio to continue recording her music. I'm a little confused. Hold on, y'all. I need to take a pause right here. I'm a little confused. I feel like I missed some stuff. So once she got the recording contract with Epic Records, she didn't get an advance of $150,000. She got a budget of $150,000. Because if she got an advance of $150,000, then she would have had the money to go to Vegas and to find somewhere to live. But if that was her budget, then that's what he was saying. We don't want to burn up your budget of the $150,000. I just want to make sure I'm understanding what's being said. Okay. I just want to make sure I was understanding. All right. Let me know in the chat if that ain't how y'all understood what's being said. Throughout July, Miss M continued to wait. She was fearful of asking too many questions because of the way he reacted. However, Dream also became angry and called her disinterested if she was not regularly keeping in touch. It was an impossible balance. In mid-July, Dream reached out to Miss M to say he was planning her first showcase for the label in August and was working on the studio edit for Married to the Game. Miss M said she was looking forward to the details. Later that same day, Dream texted, I need to F you now. The following day, Miss M did not immediately respond to the text message. Dream texted her, you better not be effing cheating. Sir, didn't you just have a baby with your wife? Where the F you at? In late July, Dream began pressuring her to hire Cynthia Campbell, an assistant who Dream personally knew, but who had little experience with musicians, and to pay her $15,000 for the first 3 months. He also told Miss M to move in with Campbell, presumably as a way to keep close track of her. Dream also scolded Miss M for failing to buy Garland a gift after her contracts were signed, given that Garland was the person who connected her to Dream in the first place. While appreciative of Epic's $35,000 advance. Okay, so she got a $35,000 advance. I'm so confused now. I ain't even gonna lie to y'all. I'm a little confused at this point with all of this. Okay. I feel like I missed something. Maybe I'm reading and I'm not comprehending as I'm reading, but I really feel like I'm missing something. Miss M had been working and then sitting around without any compensation for many months. The advance was not enough money for her to hire her own assistant, pay for her living expenses, and pay Garland for a finder's fee. Miss M had no idea when or if any other paychecks would come. Garland then began pressuring Miss M to give him $10,000 to expand his security business. What? He said, now I know the Dream is a multimillionaire. Stop playing with me. He said that Dream promised to pay him a finder's fee but had not paid it, and he was in a precarious financial position. For the first time, Miss M pushed back. She told Dream that with only $35,000, she did not have enough money to pay Campbell, rent an apartment, and give Garland money and or gifts. Dream was angry and chastised her for being selfish, accusing her of not being serious about music because she could not pay for her own assistant and did not treat people who helped her get to where she was correctly. Miss M attempted to explain, but there was no point. Dream simply continued berating her. Hold on, let me make sure that hold on. Well, I get that Dream got the money, but I'm just confusion. I'm confusion. But yeah, I understand that that's what happened, that Dream got the money. Right. Why does she need an assistant? She don't go nowhere. She don't do nothing. Assist her do what? All right. Soon after Dream coerced Miss M to have sex in the bathroom, he purposely banged her face against the sink. Oh my gosh. Oh, causing her right eye to swell and bruise. Several people in the studio asked what happened to her eye. She lied and said she ran into something. Well, ain't that always the story, that you lied or you fell down the steps? By the end of July of 2015, Miss M was desperate to get back into the studio, finish her work, and move on to the next step in the process. She believed that being signed to Epic would provide the necessary buffer between her and the Dream. Miss M should have been given some control over her recording budget, but Dream maintained full control over it via his role as chairman of Contra. Overseeing her budget allowed him to book and arrange everything, so he maintained complete control. As a result, when Miss M returned to Atlanta to finish her record, she was living in mid-range hotels and Airbnbs, while her recording engineers were placed in 4-star hotels. This was designed to punish and embarrass her because the Dream was angry that she requested a new hotel during her last stay. When Miss M questioned why those supporting her album were placed in better hotels than she was, he made snide remarks about her only wishing she could stay in a 4-star hotel. He called her ungrateful. Miss M got back into the studio in early August of 2015. Dream and Tricky began demanding that she pay for the food they ordered. Oftentimes, he would not touch the food. It was just a test and a way for him to control the small amount of money she was given. He also made Miss M order champagne and cupcakes for the studio personnel. He said that she needed to learn how to treat the people supporting her, which was ironic given the way he treated her. His abusive behavior continued to escalate. While recording in August of 2015, another artist complimented Miss M's shoes, which angered him. He locked her into a room off the studio and sexually and physically assaulted her while Garland guarded the door. On one occasion, Miss M's A&R at Epic Record, Erica Coulter, joined Dream and Miss M in the studio. During this session, Coulter personally witnessed Dream pulling her hair tie out, pulling her hair back to open her mouth, and forcibly forcing vodka down her throat. Coulter also saw Dream touch her body while in the studio. When Miss Mangrove caught Coulter's eye, she motioned to her, asking if she saw what just happened and suggesting she was uncomfortable. Coulter brushed off Dream's violent actions. She also saw explicit text messages between the Dream and Miss M during this session, leaving no doubt that she knew what Dream's true intentions with Miss M were. Around the same time, Dream told Miss M he got his weapons license back and could start carrying his weapons again. And a show of violent machoism, the Dream, Garland, and others arranged for Dream's multiple firearms to be returned to him in the parking lot of Tricky Studio by means of parking two cars next to each other and ostentiously moving guns from one car to the other. Miss Mangrove witnessed this entire charade and was terrified of Dream's comfort with the weapons. After this, Dream regularly kept a weapon on him. When he forced her to have sex, he would often place it next to her as a warning. Miss M was becoming increasingly isolated from her family. She spent so much of her time worrying about keeping him happy that she had little time to focus on anything else. Dream began getting pushy about meeting Miss M's mother. She tried to put it off because she was afraid that Dream would hurt her mother or that her mother would see his abuse. Eventually, Miss M's mother arrived in Atlanta while Miss M was recording at the studio. Her mother went to the studio to pick her up and meet the sound engineer, Nate Alford. When Alfred told Dream that he met Miss M's mother, Dream was furious because Alfred met her before he did. Dream was livid and pulled Miss M to the staircase of the studio. While in the staircase, he forcibly pulled her dress up, forced her down the stairs, and proceeded to forcibly R her from behind while he held her arms with one hand and holding the collar of her dress with the other. Miss M was unable to move, with Dream completely controlling her body. He pulled the dress collar tightly around her neck, and Miss M grasped for air and begged him to stop choking her. He pulled on the collar even harder, causing her voice to distort, and eventually she was gasping for air. He continued to pull so intensely at the collar around her neck that Miss M heard the seams of her dress rip. While he assaulted her, he scolded her, saying that she was difficult, that she did not respect him enough, that he did everything for her. During this ordeal, Miss M thought she would not survive the attack. Miss M's mother did not witness the assault or the strangling, but she was concerned about her daughter. She said she felt like she was losing her and was concerned about the Dream. Miss M tried to assuage her mother's worry. She admitted that Dream had been sexually and physically aggressive, but lied to her mother about insisting that it had gotten better. Dream's abuse was escalating to the point that it was becoming increasingly difficult to hide it from people, as he was regularly flying into a rage over everything. He seemed obsessed over Miss Mangrove's alleged lack of gratitude and the fact that she refused to use her small advance to buy him, Garland, and others gifts and to hire her friend. The fact that Miss M said no to him was simply something he could not get over. In early August, he told Miss M that he found her a manager named G. Roberson, who was a good friend of his who managed Drake and Nicki Minaj. Miss M was thrilled because she desperately wanted to find a way to put distance between her and Dream while fulfilling her contractual obligations to Contra. She thought that perhaps her new management could protect her. However, things continued to escalate. Wow. On or around August the 15th, Dream told Miss M to meet him at the studio. Miss M went to Silent Studios, but Dream did not show up. The following day, he texted her, "I don't feel like we have the same interest for each other, and I dropped something yesterday and waited on you and didn't hear a word. We had a good ride, but truthfully, I can't do it for you, and it's lopsided." Miss M responded that she was there and he never showed up. Dream said he was at Red Zone Studio and she should have known to ask which studio and not assume it was Silent. He then said, "Please end text after this and have whoever else contact me from now on. Thank you and good night. And you're welcome." He then continued, don't contact me about anything about this album. If you want to have a respectful conversation with me, I think that's supposed to be, I'll let you know when I get the time, but not right now. Ciao. Later that evening, Tricky texted her that she could come hang at the studio. Miss M reported to Tricky, who was a partner to Contra, that Dream had been doing to her. Specifically, she stated, I haven't told you a lot, but I can't take it anymore, and I don't want the music to suffer because we do great things, but I can't be on this roller coaster ride of threats of ending the project if I don't please Dream or if I misunderstand something. So many times he has yelled at me for the littlest things. You are a part of Contra Pairs too, and I can't take it anymore. Tricky simply responded, okay, I'll speak to him. Soon thereafter, Miss M left the Airbnb where Dream had put her up, booked a hotel room near the airport. She was terrified, but realized she needed to escape the months of fraud and violence she had endured at his hands. Miss M confided in Coulter, sharing with her by phone on August that Dream had sexually and emotionally been abusive toward her and violent with her and was preventing her from finishing her record. At first, Coulter said that as a woman, she understood and would take care of Miss M. Within the hour, however, Miss Coulter had spoken to Dream and told Miss M that she needed to figure out a way to work with him again, despite being told the pattern of abuse Miss M had endured. Miss M then confided in Mark Stewart, Dream's manager, that Dream was sexually and physically abusive and that it had gotten increasingly worse and she needed help to get away from him. Mark seemed genuinely concerned about her safety, but told Miss M that it seemed like a personal problem and he didn't want to be involved. But of course, far from being exclusively a personal issue, Dream's abuse of Miss M was part and parcel of his professional persona and his business of producing and writing music. Miss M reiterated to Mark that it was a dangerous situation and that she did not feel safe staying at the hotel because Dream and Garland had such easy access to her. She also told Mark that for her own safety, she would no longer be alone in a room with Dream or Garland. On or about August the 19th, Mark finally agreed that he would figure out a solution. The following day, he agreed to arrange a one-way plane ticket to Los Angeles under the excuse that Miss M was meeting with Coulter. The ticket was paid for by Epic. When Miss M arrived in Los Angeles, she called Robeson to explain the abusive nature of her relationship with Dream. Robeson brought Gene Nelson and Jay Irving to the meeting. During that meeting, Robeson said that he would handle Dream and Irving would serve as Miss Mangrove's day-to-day manager. So let me come back to the chat. We're almost done, you guys. For real this time, we're almost done. Let me come back to the chat. So thank you, Sharice, for reiterating a trigger warning. Yeah, I see you guys are just commenting in the chat. She did know they wouldn't anything to protect her, their moneymaker. She know now. I wonder if she were going to ask to see a quick settlement like we did with Diddy. Liza, give me a minute because we almost done. And I'm definitely going to give my commentary because I have thoughts and they're along those same lines because I have some thoughts. Okay. So yes, Liza, I'm with you. We here. We see each other, girl. We see each other. Smoke said, please hit that like button. There's 221 people in the chat. You guys, if you could please hit the like button. If you are new here, please join the channel. We have a good time over here. I mean, this isn't a good time, but y'all know what I'm saying. It's very informative over here. And donations are not required, but they are appreciated and accepted. My Cash App is at the bottom, and you can always send a nice little super chat, okay? All right. Okay. Coulter informed Miss M that Dream was withholding the music she recorded with him from Epic Records. Pursuant to the contract she signed, Miss M was obligated to turn over music to Epic within a specific time frame. Miss M asked her new management and others at Epic for help intervening in this situation, retrieving her music and extracting her record from Dream's grasp. For many months, Dream refused to meet with her, and even when he met with her management, he refused to turn over Miss Mangrove's music. Having had her trust completely betrayed by Dream, She was very concerned that her management no longer had her best interest in mind. Indeed, in early November of 2015, Ms. Mangrove had finally scheduled to meet with representatives at Epic, including Reed in New York, to discuss the future of her album. Tricky, Sylvia Rohn, then president of Epic Records, Arbaggy, and a full marketing team were also present. Shortly before the meeting with Reed began, Dream texted Miss M, "Oh, so you tried to play me. Okay, I'll leave you with this. That record is a mistake. If you put it out, don't ever say I didn't look out." Miss M had no idea what Dream meant, but knew he did it to rattle her before her meeting with Reed. She did her best to ignore it and hold it together during the meeting. It was a pivotal moment for Miss M's career. Much to her surprise, however, Irving was a no-show. Instead, he sent a young intern in his place. It was evident during the meeting that Reed found it offensive that Irving did not bother to show up for the meeting. Reed asked Miss M where he was. She had no answer. Miss M did her best to keep the meeting on track and reiterate how much she wanted to move forward and make the best record possible for Epic. She told Reed that she had worked for 10 years to get where she was, but that she was not getting any of her music from Dream and his team and did not know what to do. She confirmed that she wanted to move forward, but there was a problem standing in the way. Rohn and Reed both responded, "Dream," at the same time. Reed then asked Tricky to speak to Dream about the situation. Surprisingly, Tricky also voiced concerns about the meeting that Dream was asking Miss M to sing songs that were not culturally appropriate based on her background. In particular, he mentioned one of the songs referencing Miss M as Rastas. Tricky then told Reed that Miss M had no say in what she was singing, and that if she was found to be engaging in cultural appropriation, it would be an issue. Miss M left the meeting believing that Reed and his team understood the situation with Dream and would help. At the time, Reed appeared to agree that she should move forward with other producers. Reed also gave Miss M his direct phone number and told her to call if she needed anything. However, in early December of 2015, Irving suddenly told Miss M that Reed wanted Dream to be involved in the record again. Miss M was terrified at the prospect of having to record with him again, but told Irving that she was professional enough to do it if required. She asked Irving if she could at least try to arrange work with other producers first, with the hope that she would not be forced to work with Dream. Irving replied that they were ready to work with other producers, but that they needed to be careful about the situation with Dream because of the contracts Miss M signed. It was quite plainly a no-win situation for Miss M. While she remained under contract with Dream, he refused to send any music or schedule any studio time. Miss M spent the first few months of 2016 trying to figure out the next steps. She texted Coulter in late January and said, "I'm a little lost as to why I'm still not in the studio yet. It's been forever and I want to move forward. Do you know what it is? Is it because me and Dream had a dispute, or is it something else?" Last session was in Atlanta, trying to get some clarity from all sides. Again, that is in quotation marks. In February of 2016, Miss Mangrove was told that Epic finally approved the budget for her to shoot a video for Married to the Game. Miss M was never informed that what the budget was or how it was approved, and when she pressed for that information, she was stonewalled. Miss M told Irving to ensure that Dream and his team were copied on all communications related to the video shoot because she wanted to guarantee that she was abiding by her contractual obligation. Irving, however, said that Dream refused to collaborate or respond, which delayed the process. Eventually, Irving said they could not continue waiting for Dream to respond and had to move forward. As Irving said to Miss M, "Dream is already withholding music. We got to move now." Finally, in March of 2016, the video shoot was scheduled. Miss M immediately went to work figuring out the vision and look. She also asked management to always keep Dream in the loop, particularly because she still had no control over or say over her budget. Miss M's management sent Dream the treatment for the video. He never responded or provided any input. On the day of the shoot, Irving once again did not show up. Miss M was given a bag of generic clothes that did not fit the style of the shoot, and all of the vision boards she created were ignored. The video was incredibly important to her. It was her moment to show Reed and Epic Records how she could be marketed to the world and to convince Epic to increase the recording budget so she could get back into the studio. Dream called her to say he heard the video was terrible and said, "This is what you get when you don't listen to me. You got played." In April, she flew to Los Angeles using her own money to do reshoots for the video because she cared so deeply about getting it right. A few weeks later, Irving confirmed to Miss M that he sent the revised video to Reed at Epic Records. Irving told Miss M that Reed loved the video and she was thrilled and anxious to move things along. Also, we almost done, y'all. I know we almost done. We have less than 9 pages left. I know that sounds like a lot, but remember, it was 60 pages. In early May of 2016, Miss M's product manager at Epic texted her to say that the video was dope and that they were planning to premiere it. However, Coulter suddenly told Miss M that Dream complained about the video, that nobody at Epic liked it, and that she should have worked with him on the video. Miss M was shocked and confused. She had little insight into why she was getting such mixed messages from those working at Epic Records. She had the sense that Dream was continuing to put up obstacles in her career. Miss M pled with Coulter to see what Dream was doing. He was playing games and creating roadblock after roadblock. Miss M said again that her team spent 6 weeks reaching out to him about the video, sent him the treatment to the video, and he refused to respond. Now that it was complete, he was complaining simply to derail her career again. Coulter, who knew about Dream's abuse, refused to provide any help or solution. Instead, she simply said that Miss M needed to get on the same page as Dream for things to proceed. She also left unanswered her repeated questions about who was in possession of her music, even though, as her label, Epic should have been able to provide this information to her. This is just a mess. Hold on, y'all. We're going to skim through some of this. Okay. Pled guilty. Pled with Coulter to arrange a meeting with Reed to explain what happened. Child, Reed changed his phone number and was no longer directly reachable. Child, he changed his phone number. You can't reach him no more. She attended the Epic Fest in June of 2016. It was a showcase for artists. She hoped they would provide the opportunity to get in front of Reed. She was scheduled to go to the festival with Irving, but just 30 minutes before they were supposed to leave, Irving said he was still in Las Vegas and could not meet her. While she was at the fest, Dream called and told her that Epic was washing their hands of her. She ran into Reed, Coulter, and Arbagi and asked Reed if they could talk. Reed responded by saying, "Hey, baby, maybe later. We got to go." Ran off. Coulter then looked at Miss M with a smirk and said, "Talk to your manager. Why are you here? You're dropped. Irving should have talked to you already." Irving never appeared at the festival. Miss M said she was caught off guard and humiliated. She spoke to Ron and asked if she could know what Coulter meant. Ron said that she had no idea and offered to look into it. Miss M reached out to Irving. He admitted to her that he heard through the grapevine that she might be dropped. However, given there was no official notification or anything more than a rumor, he did not want to bother her with a rumor. You her manager. Aren't you supposed to know? On July 15th of 2016, she got the official word that Epic no longer wanted to distribute her music, and Dream failed to deliver the Dream failed to deliver the records. He told her that she was dropped because Contra failed to deliver the records and Dream was difficult to work with. Yet nobody at any point sat down with her to discuss the situation. She was left in the dark. To this day, Miss M is in the dark about whether or not she is still bound to Dream and Contra Paris, who owns her music rights, or where the recordings of her work are located. Dream got what he wanted. He caused so much chaos and confusion with Epic that they simply no longer wanted to deal with Miss M, who had successfully been duped into a fraudulent and coercive sexual relationship. It was a devastating blow to a young, talented artist. Within a few weeks of Epic dropping her, her management dropped her as well. Miss M lost everything, her ability to work as an artist, her ability to work in the United States, and her ability to live a life free from the trauma he inflicted. It goes on to talk about how she hasn't been the same since. It broke her as an artist and as a woman. In late December 2016, she was referred by her doctor for treatment for anxiety and depression. She was also suffering from panic attacks, insomnia. She would not speak of her abuse until 2018. However, her life would never be the same. Okay. Here are the causes of action. Again, we're at the end. We're at the end. Right. L.A. Reid got his own issues. He sure does. Everybody knew what was going on. Everybody knew what was going on. All right, let's get into the causes of action. Plaintiff is a victim of trafficking within the meaning, and it cites the case law. The defendant's acts and omissions taken separately and or together as outlined above constitute a violation of 18 U.S.C. 1595, specifically defendant Dream and Contra Paris perpetrated sex trafficking of Miss M by requiring her to engage in forced sexual acts in multiple jurisdictions, and all defendants benefited from Dream's venture by holding Miss M as an artist, signed with Contra Paris, Epic Records, captive to Dream's demands and desire at all relevant times. Defendants participated in and facilitated the harboring and transportation of the plaintiff for the purposes of sex induced by force, fraud, or coercion. The second cause of action is sexual battery. I think that was clear as we were reading through it. Third call of action is RAPE. I think that was clear. And the prayer for relief, again, remember, this is a civil action. The only remedy is financial. So I don't want nobody talking about, why is she only asking for money? That is the only remedy for a civil lawsuit. I do not want nobody talking about why is she asking for money. Okay. So let me give y'all my 2 cents on this. Number one, this is Cassie's attorney. So if we use Cassie as a barometer, or Cassie's lawsuit as a barometer, then I think it's safe for us to assume, although I know you should not assume, but I think that it's safe for us to assume that if they say they have evidence of emails, text messages, I think it's safe to assume that they do. Early on, at the beginning of this, she said she had pictures of bruises. I think it's safe to assume that she does. The fact that she specifically named people, and she was so specific in dates, times, and what was said to those people, when it was said to those people, and what those people said back to her, again, that doesn't mean that everything is 100% accurate, but I think it's safe to assume that this attorney has reasonable proof to support what she is saying. That's my opinion. I could be wrong, but that is my opinion. She named names from the security / bodyguard all the way up to the executives at Epic Records. She was able to name specific places and line them up with dates. You know why she was able to line them up with dates? Because she still got the text messages that are what? Dated. She could tell you exactly when this man reached out to her on social media, because she probably still has it in, or had it in her social media, right? She's got emails. Right. Douglas Wigdor seems to take cases he believes in, and that he can at least reasonably prove. Now, at the end of the day, nobody was in those rooms, right? but reasonably prove. The question, like Liza asked a few minutes ago, how fast do y'all think the Dream will try to settle this? Even if we wrong, we could be right. Well, right. So I feel, this is my opinion, okay? Everybody is innocent until proven guilty. These are only allegations. This is not a fact. This is not fact. But based on these allegations, based on the fact that a lot of these things were put in quotation marks, he mentioned emails. He mentioned specific people. He mentioned dates and times and locations. I have reasonable belief that at least some of this is substantiated. I have reasonable belief that at least some of this is substantiated. And it will be very interesting to see if this gets settled and when it gets settled. What is also going to be interesting, and I said this exact same thing about the Diddy and Cassie lawsuit. Y'all can go back and y'all can find it. I said the exact same thing. Where there's one, there are others. And it'll be interesting to see if anybody else comes out with their own story. We know Christina Milian described her marriage to him as a nightmare. Let me read y'all this article. And I know y'all tired of me reading, but this is quick. This is from Rolling Stone. This is from 2011. A judge in Atlanta has finalized singer Christina Milian's divorce from songwriter-producer The Dream. According to her attorney, Randy Kessler, the final paperwork was signed by the judge early this month. The divorce was resolved by mutual agreement. The Dream, they were married in 2019. They separated in July 2010. They have one infant daughter together. So let me tell y'all how she described it. Christina Milian's brief marriage to Dream producer was by no means dreamy, and now she's ready to dish the dirt. She said, "I've been to hell and back, but I survived." The singer tells the February issue of Latina of their messy split, which went public in July when the producer was photographed nuzzling his assistant in the Caribbean. Although he filed for divorce in February, days before she gave birth to their daughter Violet, she has insisted they had continued to have marital relations. "I tried to be someone I wasn't because I wanted my marriage to work. But ultimately, if it's not working, it's not working." As for the cheating scandal, she admits, "I didn't know anything. But looking back, my gut was telling me something was off, but I thought I could fix it." And I'm sure you guys can probably go back to Latina magazine and read the full article where she gets into more specifics. So, child, Cassie's legal team is working overtime. They're going to get some early Christmas bonuses. Shoot, they got the bonus. Right. They already got a bonus last Christmas because, hell, they filed that lawsuit in November and it was settled 24 hours later. So they already got their bonus from last year. They working on this year's bonus. Life was good, right? I just feel like this particular attorney, again, he has a reputation now. And I'm sure that after the Cassie lawsuit, I'm sure all sorts of people came to him to represent them. The fact that he probably vetted this case and he is reasonably certain that he can prove this case says a lot to me. And it'll be very interesting to see if anything comes after this, if anything, who tells the story after this. Again, we know he was married to Nivea. We know about Christina Milian. We see that there's DV cases with ex-girlfriends. So it'll be interesting to see how this works out, you guys. Anyway, that's all I have. If you are not already, please hit that like button. Please hit like, comment, subscribe, share, all of those things. And again, if y'all want to donate to the lawsuit fund, child, we pull these lawsuits. You can send a super chat or a cash out. Let me see if anybody sent me a cash out while I was reading all that. I've been reading to y'all for 2 hours. No? Okay, it's cool. All right. With that being said, y'all, I'm about to eat me some dinner. I was going to try to come back and talk about Tiffany Henya, but Lord, I didn't know that was going to take 2 hours. I doubt I'll be back, y'all. I'm going to be honest and just tell y'all the truth. I doubt I'll be back, but we'll see. But Tiffany Henya, we'll talk about her. There was a meeting last night and it got rowdy, child. They had to the police had to clear the people out of there. It got rowdy last night. Of course, he denied the claims. Hold on, let me find his statement. Let me be fair. Let me be fair. Let me read what what the dream said, child. Let me be fair. Let me be fair. It's probably on the it's probably on the neighborhood talk. Let me go to the neighborhood talk, child. The Dream denies allegations after being accused of trafficking, ape, and abuse in new lawsuit. I oppose all forms of harassment. I am deeply offended. These claims are untrue and defamatory, he said. I oppose all forms of harassment and have always strived to help people realize their career goals. As someone committed to making a positive impact for my fellow artists and the world at large, I am deeply offended and saddened by these accusations. Okay, well, Diddy said the same thing. So these denials really mean nothing to me because Diddy said the same thing. So, all right. With that being said, let me get up out of here, you guys. Like I said, I'm gonna give me some dinner. If I get a second wind, I'll be back. If not, we'll talk about Tiffany Henya another time. I'll talk to y'all later. Mwah. Peace.